What's going on, everybody? It's Luke here from Play Like a Jet. I had to jump on quickly while I was at work. The big news that's come out of Florham Park this afternoon and tonight is developing that Elijah Moore has requested a trade. It's incredible. I honestly can't believe we're here. Look, I understand Elijah Moore's frustration. I understand that he believes he should be getting more targets. I understand that the Jets haven't been passing the football well. He's had two quarterbacks. He's played with Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson. Things haven't gone how Elijah Moore has anticipated to start this season. I understand that. I respect it. But this Jets team is 4-2. They've won 3 games in a row. This is the high point for this Jets organization easily since 2015, and it might just be the high point since 2010. We're talking over a decade. This is the best feeling the Jets have had in their building, with a young team that just keeps on going from strength to strength. And Elijah Moore now wants to request a trade. That's where we're at. OPB says Elijah Moore straight up selfish. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. It's hard to fathom or come up with another word to explain what's happening with Elijah Moore right now. I can't believe it. Jamal Adams was the most selfish thing I've ever seen from that perspective. The fact that he requested a trade, that he made it all about him. He turned the Jets into an absolute clown show. But you know what? At least Jamal Adams was part of a Jets team that stunk, was part of an organization coached by Adam Gase, and he had reason to be upset. Right now, Elijah Moore is rocking the boat and robbing his teammates of the best feeling, the best vibes, and the most momentum that this organization has had in a decade, as I said off the bat. This is an issue that's been ongoing since the start of the season. Elijah Moore not getting his targets. The first couple of games of the year with Joe Flacco, I thought Elijah was getting open a ton, and unfortunately the Jets just weren't doing a good enough job getting him the football. I could understand the frustration. The Jets weren't winning, the Jets weren't realistically playing very well. The last couple of weeks, in my opinion, that has changed completely. Elijah Moore's still playing a good amount of snaps here. He's played 60% on the weekend, the second most of all the wide receivers, only behind Corey Davis. I don't think he's getting open as much. But the Jets aren't running the football. The Jets are running the football at an elite level, guys. They're ripping off 5-6 yards a carry every single time. The Jets did not throw the football in the fourth quarter on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. Elijah Moore doesn't need to be upset about that. I understand that he wants to get paid. I understand that he's a competitor and he wants to do his part. But there is so much more than this. Yeah, I get it. He wants to maximize his prime, his rookie contract. He wants his money. I get it. This is a 4-2 football team with the best receiving core the Jets have had realistically in a decade. 2015 was good, but it was short-lived. This is the best. On top of that, Mike LaFleur's actually done a good job over the last couple of weeks. Here's why. The Jets are running more 12 and 21 personnel, something he wanted to do last year, and it did not work because we didn't have the horses. I think CJ Uzama was the Jets' best offensive player when he was on the field on Sunday. And people are going to look at that and go, what are you talking about? That makes zero sense. CJ Uzama had like 2 receptions for 20 yards. His blocking, what he did on the Braxton Berrios ended around touchdown. I'm going to have a video about this with the little whirly, sells it, goes as the lead blocker. Berrios ends up taking it into the end zone. He had a huge backside cut block in sift motion on the Corey Davis deep play action bootleg from Zach Wilson. That was because of CJ Uzama. He had the tight end screen. He was moving people in the run game. But now you want to move away from this 12 personnel because Elijah Moore's not getting his touches and because Elijah Moore's not happy. I just don't think that makes sense. Have the Jets been successful out of their 21 personnel with with Michael Carter and Breece Hall on the field? Have they looked pretty good in those looks? I'd say yes. They had 3 touchdowns out of that package in the last 2 weeks, and they also had the long wheel on the sideline to Breece Hall. But we want to move away from those looks because Elijah Moore's not happy. Look, again, I'll reinforce what I said earlier. I understand why Elijah Moore is frustrated. I understand that Elijah Moore believes that he's the best receiver on the football team and he should be getting his, and he wants to look after his family, and you don't get a contract without getting receptions. I get it. But this is a 6-game sample size where the New York Jets are winning, where the New York Jets are young, where the New York Jets have had to endure multiple QB changes, where he's had to play with Joe Flacco, then Zach Wilson coming off a 7-week layoff, where the Jets have run the football extremely effectively and they continue to win on the road. I just do not think this is the time for it. Busted Knuckles says it's a way to turn your attention on self, not a true team player. Look, I had a huge amount of respect for Elijah Moore and who he is as a person and what I thought he brought to this football team. And Robert Saleh mentioned in the other day in his press conference, he's a high character football player and a high character human. This just isn't what you expect, and that doesn't go along with that. This is someone who is being selfish, who's putting themselves before the team, above the team, and thinking that their production and their future is more important than the New York Jets. He wants a trade? I'm pretty sure Chicago Bears need a receiver. Maybe the Green Bay Packers do. Do you really think that necessarily the grass is always greener on the other side? Look, the Jets aren't going to grant his trade. The Jets know that he has too much value, and they're not going to maximize his value right now. The Jets are going to hold on to Elijah Moore, but this is an ugly situation, and a situation that was completely unneeded. This just wasn't here. Mateus says he doesn't want him in the locker room. I get it. There's going to be some disgruntled players. You know what? A guy like Braxton Berrios and Garrett Wilson, how do you think they're feeling right now? These are guys who have done bits with their touches, with their design little screens. Why would you take screen passes and end arounds away from Braxton Berrios right now, when in his last 3 attempts, Braxton Berrios has scored an end-around touchdown against Green Bay, an end-around touchdown against the Miami Dolphins, and then had the little Philly pass to Zach Wilson? That's 3 touchdowns. Look, I get that you might think Elijah Moore is a better football player than Braxton Berrios. He 100% is. But in this capacity, do you really want to take those touches away from Braxton Berrios just because, you know what, I'm sorry, Braxton, Elijah Moore needs his touches and we got to keep him happy, so we don't want to score any more touchdowns. We're not sure he's going to be as effective as you, but hey, we appreciate what you're doing and next time we might try and give you the ball. That's not how you play football. That isn't an NFL locker room. I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. I didn't think we'd be here. With the noise that was coming out this morning and the family issues and was he on, personal leave just because he needed a day off and because of everything going on, or was there a family issue? It's now settled. Elijah Moore doesn't want to be here. After 6 weeks of playing winning football in his second NFL season, Elijah Moore thinks he's above the New York Jets. And that's a serious issue. And Franco says he's been influenced by A.J. Brown. And you know what? You're right, it's way different to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was an all-pro receiver who needed to get paid. Elijah Moore is a second-year receiver who showed flashes of being really good last year. Think about the Miami game with Flacco, all that kind of stuff. He's not the caliber of player A.J. Brown is. This team is winning, and he's not in line to get paid yet. This move makes no sense. You have time, Elijah Moore, to put up the numbers. Get your reps with Zach Wilson. Ants Jets 82, it is extremely disappointing. I'm disappointed in Elijah Moore. I'm disappointed for the locker room. It's a distraction you don't need. Instead of only focusing on the New York Jets against the Denver Broncos, a chance to go 5-2 for the first time since 2010 or 2009, we're talking about Elijah Moore. And I know we're the fan base, but you better believe this is in the locker room too. These things travel. These things permeate. This is an issue for the New York Jets. I'm disappointed with Elijah Moore. I'm disappointed with the situation, and I hope we can resolve it. But right now, it's not a good look for Elijah. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in. I've got a ton more videos coming up the next couple of days. Hit the like button on the way out. I've got to get back to work, but I appreciate you all, and I'll catch you shortly.